28 years later, this is the third movie in the 28 Days Later series. So when I heard that this movie was coming out, a third movie, I was super excited. I found out about this movie maybe a month ago. So I said to myself, I can't wait to see this because the first 28 Days Later, that came out in 2022 or 2023. And I was in high school and I just really liked that movie. Now, the second movie, I enjoyed it as well, but I feel like the first one was my favorite out of the franchise. So when I saw the trailer to this movie, I was like, it has to be good. This movie is going to be an awesome time. So I looked at the reviews. I went on Google. This was on Thursday, last Thursday. I looked at the reviews. I saw 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, okay, yes, the critics are loving this, so it has to be good. And then I looked at the Google reviews, and the Google reviews, it was 2.6. And I read some of the reviews briefly. I was like, I don't want to read all these paragraphs. So I was like, maybe maybe the fans are a little off. But let me tell you, the fans were absolutely right. You know, when it comes to those Google reviews, now the Google reviews, they're sitting at 2.4. Let me see, actually. Yeah, 2.4, and Rotten Tomatoes is 89%. This movie was a hot mess. Just first of all, the movie is 1 hour and 55 minutes, and the movie is directed by Daniel Boyle and is written by Alex Garland. And they directed and they wrote the first 28 Days Later movie together. And so that's why I had high expectations. But the story, the direction, and also the characters, the decisions that they made, and just the execution, it was not a good movie. And I know that opinions, of course, are subjective. But it boggles my mind because after I watched this movie, I said, let me look at some other, reviews on YouTube. And a lot of people were saying that this movie was a masterpiece. This movie was one of the best horror movies. It was, simply amazing. And I'm like, did we just watch the same movie? Because I saw this movie with my friend and we both looked at each other when we were watching this movie. Did that just happen? What? Is this a joke? It almost seems as if this movie was a parody of the 28 Days Later, just a franchise. And also the end, how this movie ended, I was like, this is a comedy. This has to be a comedy. This is a parody. They are joking with us. They are playing games with us. So it was just simply ridiculous to me. I don't want to spoil the movie, but I'll go into a couple of things. So in this movie, there's the father and son. They're the main characters. The father is played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and I thought he was the best thing about this movie, actually. And his son is named Spike, who is played by Alfie Williams. So they're in the safe zone of the island, and the father decides to show his son, he wants to teach his son how to kill, a zombie or, the infected. Let's just say zombie, So he's teaching him how to, kill a zombie and, with a bow and arrow. He's like, okay, now you have to aim at the head, and then just hit your target. So I'm like, all right, okay, So that happens, and then, a bunch of zombies, get close to, attacking them. And then they have to hide in this building, this old building or whatever. And then eventually they're able to leave, but there's an alpha, zombie, and they get away from him. They make it back to the safe zone. And then after that, the son, he sees that his father is not faithful to his mother. And so the mother, she has some illness. I don't want to spoil that. She has some illness, and the father tells the son, hey, because also, let me say this. there's a part where they're getting back, or where they're heading back to the safe zone from the mainland, and the son sees, he sees someone burning something, burning whatever. He sees fire, and he's like, okay, dad, what is that? And then the dad says, oh, that's a crazy doctor. This guy's losing his mind. He's burning people or burning zombies. Don't go over there, son. You never want to go over there. We have to, go back to the safe zone. And then the son's like, well, dad, well, shouldn't we, have the doctor help mom? Maybe he can, figure out what's wrong with her. Maybe he can help her, so she's not, acting crazy, because because she has this illness, and you're not sure if it's okay. Is it a mental illness, or if it's some kind of chronic illness or whatever kind of disease? And so that happens. And then the son, he decides to, because, in this movie, the safe zone, it's protected by, I'm going to just say guards. That, they make sure that no zombies are, trying to get in. And if they do try to get in, they will kill them or whatever. The son comes up with a distraction, so he is able to sneak his mother out of the safe zone. And he takes her out to the mainland, and they are on a pursuit to find the doctor. So that's the only thing I will say about the plot, and I guess pretty much that is the movie. But there's strange things that happen, that transpire in this movie, that is just so baffling. So baffling. Spike and his mother, they come across a pregnant zombie, and the mother, Spike's mother, decides to help the zombie give birth. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And the baby is not a zombie. The baby was not infected. It's just a regular human baby. Unbelievable, unbelievable, unbelievable. I'm like, is this really happening? Is this a joke? And that was just so ridiculous. And then there's zombies who are running around, and they're naked. And there's one zombie who's an alpha, and he's just running around. He's letting everything hang out. And I'm like, my goodness. It was just simply just the writing, like I said before, the direction of this movie, the execution was not good. It was just a bizarre movie. And I like, and I'm that type of person. I love horror movies. And I know horror movies can be bizarre, and I'm okay with movies that are bizarre. But this was bizarre in a what are they on kind of way. Is the director and writer, were they under the influence of some kind of substance? Because I'm joking, because it was just so perplexing, ridiculous, and just outrageous to me. It was just outrageous. And then you think about this kid. The only other thing I'll say about this, you think about the kid character, the kid. And then also when they meet the doctor, when the kid and his mother, Spike, when they come face to face with the doctor, it's just weird things that happen. And the alpha, they're able to, let me not say anything else about the movie, like whatever, other things that happen in the movie, but it was just so ridiculous. It was just so ridiculous that it just had me shaking my head and scratching my head. And then also, like I said, that ending, I'm like, are you joking? That the entire tone of the movie just changed. And then also, I think, whatever, I don't want to spoil anything else, even though I pretty much just spoiled the whole movie. Well, most of it, I should say. But yes, I would give this movie, this is a 2 out of 10, because it was just that ridiculous. My friend, he gave this movie, I think it was a 4 out of 10. Maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like I did not watch the same movie as a lot of people who are praising this movie. So I don't know. The movie did make 30 million at the box office domestically, and I think it has a worldwide total of 60 million. And this movie is actually a setup to a sequel. So the sequel is going to be called 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. and that is set to be released sometime next year. Have you seen the movie? If you did, how did you feel about the movie? Take care and have a good one.